the second day of the new year, so hopefully the first day of the year was productive for you, or it was restful, or something good happened to you in the first day of the year, because a friend of mine once told me that how we spend the first day of the year is how the year is going to go for us. Excuse me. And so I've always tried for the first day of the year to work on my goals and like be productive and be like, let's go. So yeah, I feel like I did a pretty good job. I got some miles on bikes. I basically did a little bit of every single goal I had on my list, with the exception of one that I didn't get on the scoreboard. Is my goal. It's a bonus goal. It's just for networking. So it's like I think the goal is to go like once a month to like a lunch with somebody like I haven't hung out with in a while. That's like a business connection. So yeah. Anyway, it's pretty good that I did like everything else on the list. So I feel like it was a good, productive day. This is like the 4th video I'm making for the day, so I'm feeling great about that. Yeah. So anyway, on to today's topic. So I have been playing Warhammer 40,000 for a little over 4 months now. I bought like the first kit back in August, and I played my first game of Kill Team, which is not 40k, but it's like kind of like an offshoot of 40k. On my birthday on August 29th, and so it's been about 4 full months of me playing, and I have become absolutely obsessed with it. So some thoughts I have about it. I think the first thought I have about it there's a couple thoughts. Number one, I watch a lot of YouTube about Warhammer 40k, and there's a lot of like talk about like the meta and the tournaments and this and this and this, and I don't understand why anybody gives it like any. Like, people just they are so serious about the meta, and you gotta do meta watch, and like this is the team, this is and this and this and this and that, and it's like they make balancing decisions, so that they'll send out rules every so often, and they call them balance updates, which is fine, but they're basing a lot of these decisions off of the meta, and as far as I can tell, the meta is just kind of like they get stats from tournaments, and then based off win rates and nothing else, they nerf armies or buff armies to try to balance out the win rate, which is not the worst way of doing it, but and I will concede I don't know the full story here, so I'm kind of just basing it off of what I've been able to glean from these videos. But it seems like all these tournaments are played. The tournaments report how the games go, the teams versus this, and then they base it just off win rate, and I feel like that is just completely useless, because if you think about it, you're ignoring like what did the people take with them into the game. What units did they take? Was it a good list, or was it just like a fun list? Because if I'm going to play 6 Warhammer games in a weekend, I'm not gonna be sweaty and try hard. Like there's no benefit to me to be like super try hard and I won all 6 games. This is great. Like, I'm just there to like dick around and have fun. Like I can't fathom playing 6 games of Warhammer in a weekend. Okay, like one game is like 4 hours long. Like, and even in a tournament where it's like timed, you think it's still like 2-3 hours. So 6, that's 18 hours of Warhammer. Like that's a lot in a weekend. In 3 days. So you don't know that. You don't know what the list is. You don't know how skilled the player is. Is it someone that just got into Warhammer that's been playing for like a year? Like, and you don't know. Like, you get game points for painting your miniatures, and if they're up to the standard, which they have like kind of like a standard thing. So it's like, okay, well, what if it's a new player? He doesn't have his things painted, and he lost every game. Like, that's gonna affect the win rate. So like there's something there. There's something on my screen. Sorry, just got distracted. So there's that. You don't know the list they're bringing. You also like don't counter for cheaters. And watching all these like meta reports, there's like this person cheated and this person cheated and this person cheated, and like here's a poll that says like 30% of people cheat, and here's how they cheat, and you're like, what the? You can't. It's like there's so much. There's so many variables to it. The win rate is like the most garbage, and to make it worse, you have all these people that are like meta chasers, so they're playing the armies that are like the best armies. So at the top of the win rate, you have all the people that are like sweaty tryhards playing that team. So okay, it's gonna probably do a little better than the team that's like fun, you know. But then you don't have an even number of games. You're not comparing like how many times did they, you know, what was the score versus, you know, how like a plus minus. So in hockey, we have something called a plus minus system, and that's where you take for each player how many goals were scored for the team versus how many goals were scored against the team. So it's sort of like a kill death ratio, if you're more familiar with that in first person shooters. And so like that I think alone would be a better score, is to have a plus minus of like how many points did they score, how many points did they allow to be scored, and that alone I think is already a way better system to balance things, because you might have these win rates where it's like, oh, this team is winning 60% of the time, but their plus minus is not as good, which would tell me that like maybe if they're winning but like their plus minus isn't as good as some of these other teams, like they're probably not overpowered, like they're probably just skill players doing well with the team. Anyway, I digress. But then on top of that, we talk about cheating, and then we watch how some of these tournaments play. People just roll the dice on the table, and like half the time the people can't see the dice, like your opponent can't see the dice, and I get it, it's timed and there's a lot of things to do. But like, why isn't every dice roll being made into a dice tray that everybody can see and has access to? You know, like that alone would cut like half of the ways you can cheat out. So that's one. Two, the tournament should provide dice, so now you don't have loaded dice, you don't have to worry about that. Like, that's done, that's taken care of. You know, each table has a unique set of dice. So if you wanted to cheat, you'd really have to go above and beyond and have like 30 sets of loaded dice, and it'd be really obvious. And if you go to that much effort, then God bless you, you know, like cheat all you want, like it's a stupid game. Like you don't get anything for winning these tournaments except for like the ability to travel again and play another tournament. Like I guess there's probably some tournaments where you get prizes and stuff, but like whatever. Anyway, so that's my opinion on the meta of the tournament, of the tryhard and da. But on the casual side, the fun side, I've been loving the game. It's great. My favorite variation is still what's called Kill Team, where 40k is sort of like Risk meets model trains, and that you have to build a whole model train set before you can play a game of Risk against somebody else who has built a model train set. But Kill Team is much more like chess, where it's chess meets model train building, and so you have a lot less guys to build. But also in chess, like the games go much faster. There's fewer things to do, there's fewer things to think about, and the speed of the game, it's very back and forth, because you alternate activating one operative at a time, whereas in 40k you activate your whole army in phases, where you would move, and then you would shoot, and then you would declare charges, and then you would do fighting. So it's like one turn in 40k could be, 40 minutes, whereas in Kill Team you could play 2 games in 40 minutes if you were 2 people that were fast and knew your armies very well. So it's much more, I hate to be like, it's electric, oh, it's great, but it's great, I love it, and I'm super obsessed with it. And so I've been trying really hard to get more people in my area into it, because when I first got in 40k, I went to the Warhammer store, and the guy who owned the place was kind of trying to push me towards like big Warhammer, because he's like, more people play it. And you're like, yeah, that's fine, but also I think you just want to sell me a lot more miniatures, because a Kill Team is like 1 box, whereas a whole 40k army is like several $100s, like at least. And And so it's like the threshold to be able to play a game. Like with Kill Team, you just need one box. You build 10 miniatures. Like you could do that in an afternoon. You could have them built. They don't need to be painted. You know, you're ready to go. Let's play some games. Whereas with like big 40K, you're spending months and hundreds of dollars like learning how to build these models. And even if you have experience building models, like the time it takes for you to get to the point where you could play even the lowest level of game, which is just Combat Patrol. Like you're buying a box that costs like $160. You have to build like 20 models, and like it's just there's so many rules to learn. Where Kill Team also has a lot of rules, but like I feel like it's a little more intuitive, and you can sort of peel back stuff. You play people that are, and everyone's like super chill. So I've been trying to get more people in my local area into Kill Team, which, as I'm finding out, a lot of them played Kill Team, but like didn't really stick with it because there wasn't like a cheerleader. There wasn't like a person like organizing and being like, let's play Kill Team because it's great. And that was a weird noise that came out of my mouth. But anyway, it's what happens when I'm excited. It's like, oh, yeah, it's great. Kill Team. So talking about Kill Team makes me go Golden Retriever mode. So you're just gonna have to deal with that. But yeah, so it's great, and I'm seeing on the Discord that there's like a Warhammer Discord here, and more people are signing up, and like not signing up, but more people are using the Kill Team subsection of the Discord. I'm like, yes. So hopefully in 2024, I want to try to do a couple things. So I want to do a like Let's Play Kill Team. So I want to maybe do that like once a month, like bring a bunch of my Kill Team armies, like set up a scenario so that people that have never played Kill Team can get a game in like 15 minutes and kind of get like an idea of like, oh, this is what Kill Team is, like this is great. And you know, just be like, have like a window of like 2-3 hours, I don't know. And then I can kind of just explain like, this is what Kill Team is, like this is how it works, like it's great. And then I can have like all these printouts that I could like give them and be like, you know, if you want to play, like this is what you need. It's great. And then eventually, maybe by the end of 2024, we'll have enough local players to do a tournament. And I don't think we need a lot. I think if we had 16 people, we could definitely get 3-4 games each, maybe up to 6 games. You know, we do it over a Friday, Saturday, Sunday. You play 2 games a day. That's only an hour and a half. You know, like totally doable. Totally doable. But I don't know, there's a lot of stuff, and so I've talked to the local game store that I play a lot out of, because I know the owner, because I've known him for like 12 years now or something like that, and he was like, yeah, we're into it, we don't have anybody that like knows 40K enough, especially doesn't know Kill Team enough to like be an authority figure. And I'm like, I'm only 4 months in, but I am willing to be the designated adult. I do need to get a lot more games in before I feel comfortable like being a judge. But I think it would be pretty rad to manage a tournament or something, and I have all these other ideas that like go with it and be like, this is great, I'm excited. So yeah, that's so yeah. Right now, for 40K, I've got 3 armies going right now. I've got Space Marines, which that whole shelf is just Space Marines, because I bought out some guy that was getting out of the hobby, and he gave me an insane deal. If you know anything about Warhammer 40K, like there's a point system, which is kind of how they balance it, which is like a budget of how many points you can take with you into a game. It's like 2,000 for a standard game. And so 2,000 points would probably cost you a couple $100. I have like, I don't know, somewhere between 7 and 10,000 points, and he sold it to me for $1,000, which probably would cost, I don't know, definitely more than that new. And then if you factor in like the paint that's on them and all the time, like with the man hours involved and the paint that's on there and the basing is done so well, like that is probably like $15,000 worth of Space Marines if I like individually sold each one for like a fair market rate, with like how well it's painted. I could probably sell a lot of those things like at retail or slightly above retail, because it's like already ready to go. It's game ready. So like I could probably if I ever got into serious financial trouble, or it was like, I'm getting out of Warhammer, I want to buy a house. Down payment on a house is right there, which is like awesome. And also scary, because like, I have a tax bill coming up this month. Not this month, but like this year. And I'm like, but I love my Space Marines, so that's way last case resort. Like, I'd rather ask my parents for money before I sold my Space Marines. I also have an Orc army that I'm working on. I'm almost at 2,000 points. There's a lot of building and a lot of painting that still needs to happen. I bought some more, though. This guy was already painted. But he doesn't like match any of my other orcs, so he's just gonna be the lost boy. Coming in, I think his base is his base is wrong. But there's a handful of other ones I need to do. I need to paint almost all the orcs. And then I just bought a Tau army to start, New Year, new army. But I've been buying the Tau slowly because I like big robots, and the Tau are basically just big Gundam robots, and like that's awesome and cool and fun, and they have giant guns, and I love all of that. So, yeah, that's where I'm at with Warhammer. It's awesome, and I love it, and I knew I would love it, and that's why I didn't get into it, is because I knew it would be really expensive, and I have, even though I'm only 4 months in, I've probably spent like between $2,000 and $3,000 on it. So it's a very expensive hobby, but it has also taken me out of screens a lot of stuff that's not serving me, of just like endless doom scrolling. Like I am focusing more of my media, I'm following a lot more of these content creators for Warhammer, which is like taking me out of like, this is the awful thing, the phone wants to show you the awful things in real life, and instead I'm getting a lot more 40K, which is great. And then I'm spending more time completely removed from screens. I'm playing the game in real life with people, with strangers, meeting people, going places, and being social, which is like very weird for me, because I don't like, oftentimes like I'll meet people and they're like, you're great, we should hang out, and I'm like, no, because I don't do that. I can't just like hang out. Like people like, let's go to the bar. I'm like, I don't really drink. And just like sitting at a bar is, it's like slowly poisoning my soul. I can't do that. I don't know how people like just go to the bar and, talk shit about work. Like I can't do that. I'm just like, okay, let's try to fix your problems. That's what I get to. And people are like, we don't want to hear that. And I'm like, why are you complaining? Like, I'm trying to provide solutions. Like, I don't know, my brain, whatever is up here, that's like not standard equipment. can't listen to people complain and not try to fix it. And so this lets me be social, and gets me something to talk to people about and nerd out about, and then it's a little hobby, and I can work with my hands and listen to audiobooks, which that's the thing, if you have like ADHD, like you cannot, if you're not doing something with your hands, you can't really like ingest podcasts very well. Like you can get like 10-15 minutes in, and then it kind of just like starts to just go in one ear out the other. But if you're working with your hands, all of a sudden things start to stick around up in here. So I've been getting more books read. I've been getting off the internet, so I'm less like depressed about like, look at all this garbage shit that's happening in the world, and look how awful humans are. And I'm just generally better off for the hobby. So yeah, I'm excited about it. And if you like tactical games and you also want to get off the internet and you have somewhat of a budget, check out 40K. It's super cool, and you will become addicted to the plastic crack. And if you have any other addictions, you won't have any money left over to buy your drugs, because you will be buying the plastic crack that you need to play the little War Dolly game. So, yeah. If you couldn't tell, I'm really into this. So, I'm probably gonna keep making videos about it. And if you're not into that, well, sorry. So, anyway, that's all I got for today. So, with that said, check out 40K, set some goals for the new year, and I hope you're doing well. And if not, well, I hope that turns around for you real soon. And as always, thank you for watching. And if you're new here, consider subscribing. and hitting like and all that other YouTube stuff that you're probably supposed to say at the beginning of the video and not at the very end of the video. But we're here, and that's when I'm saying it. So do all that stuff, and yeah, just be good and find your Warhammer. If this isn't for you, find a thing that gets you excited and out of the doom scroll, and I promise you, you will be better for it. So, yeah, that's it. Okay, goodbye. Thank you for watching. I'll see you next time. Have a good one.